It is my theory that probably over 60% of the people that are overweight are inflamed. You're not fat, you're inflamed, ma'am. When you are walking around with that trauma, with those love blocks, with those pains, you're holding on to it in your body. And you have to understand that you are an energy being. You are a spirit being having a human experience. Every cell in your body vibrates to a certain frequency, and that frequency has to be maintained in order to maintain health. Once that frequency is disrupted, then it causes inflammation, and the body does everything it can in order to protect itself, in order to repair itself, and that leads to inflammation. So then the inflammation causes the swelling. So I find that a lot of women that are overweight have experienced sexual trauma because of two things. First, they're holding the energetic trauma in their body that's causing them to hold on to more water weight. It's a lot of inflammation in their body. And then two, it creates a buffer. It creates a buffer of protection. So it's like subconsciously, if I have this weight keeps a distance from you hurting me. It's keeps the pain, it keeps the hurt, it keeps the trauma away. And a lot of women who are inflamed mentally, they're dealing with depression. I don't even like saying that word. They're dealing with anxiety, and it's inflammation in your brain, really. It's inflammation in your brain. And then when you're having all of that going on, that's going to throw off your whole biochemistry, ladies. That's going to throw off your estrogen levels. It's going to throw your cortisol levels high. Cortisol is a stress hormone. It's going to cause stress. It's going to cause even more inflammation. And then when you're dating men who are Build-A-Bears, okay? These men, you know that man doesn't value you. You know that man's constantly doing something to walk in and out of your life. He treats you like you Circle K, ma'am. And the way he's treating you is causing a spike in your cortisol levels. It's literally causing your feminine energy to decrease. It's causing you to be stressed out, and it's putting you at risk and your body at risk for inflammation, which puts you at risk of heart disease, diabetes, hypertension, vaginal dryness. Ma'am, if you've ever met a penile worth vaginal dryness, raise your hand. Has anybody ever met a penile worth vaginal dryness? It's not worth it, ladies. Like dating a man who doesn't see your value, a man who you have to compromise in order to be with, is literally bad for your health. So when you're choosing a man who doesn't see you, like when you saw the video of this man literally marrying this woman, and as he was marrying this woman, his vows were, I'm looking forward to smacking that ass every day. Now, this woman knew that he was a jackass. Like, she already knew. She knew that this man wasn't that into her, because there's no way he could be in love with her for him to demean and disrespect and embarrass her like that in front of her own daggone family and her friends. And then she is inflamed herself. She's swollen herself probably from being with this idiot, from dealing with the stress of this idiot. Ladies, you choosing men who are beneath you, you choosing situations that are beneath you, that don't celebrate who you are, limits your life. It decreases your lifespan. It's bad for your health. It's so not worth it. It's not worth it to settle. And it's not worth it to stay alone. Like, I don't know, these women that put out these factoids that only a man benefits from being married is a lie. Okay? I don't know about y'all. However, the world is going through an inflation right now. Okay? It's going through a recession right now. There's a lot of people that's hurting. There's a lot of people that's struggling. Regular people, middle class, can't even buy a house anymore. Okay? The middle classes are getting taxed out the butt. Being single costs you way more. Like insurance, healthcare, everything statistically is way more. Single people on average make less money per year than people who are married. According to the New York Journal or the New York Times, they say that single people lose $1 million every 10 years for those that make $70,000 a year and up. So it's expensive being single. That causes stress when everything is on you. Not to mention, women benefit greatly when they're in a partnership with a healthy, good man who loves her. That's the key. The key is to be in a relationship with a man who is your romantic best friend, who loves your soul, and who sees you. And a lot of you guys who are watching me, because I can feel you, I can hear you, you are sitting there feeling some kind of way. Like you are wondering, when is it going to be my turn? When am I going to attract somebody? You're frustrated with the dating game. You're frustrated with the fact that you haven't yet been able to attract your soulmate. You're frustrated because your life might not be going the way it is that you want it to go. And I'm here to encourage you, first to remind you who you are. Baby, you deserve everything that you want and more. And if it wasn't meant for you to have what it is that you want, then you wouldn't want it. If it wasn't meant for you to have what it is that you want, you wouldn't even want it. Desire, D, root word sire. It means, D means of, a sire means father. It's of the father. Okay. It's of higher spirit, God, the one, whatever you want to call it, for you to be able to have love, for you to be able to have abundance, for you to be able to have healing. But the first thing that's important is you have to choose you. That's the first thing that's the most important. That's the must do step. So today I had a client who came to me and she's been dealing with, even though she's successful in her career, she's been dealing with attracting narcissistic men, men who are man babies, men who are mean to her, men who are verbally abusive, men who don't see her value, men who waste her time. And she is in her 40s and she wants to be able to have a family. She wants to be able to have kids. She wants to be able to get married. And her self-esteem was so low, even as smart as she is, her self-worth, due to her love blocks that stem from childhood traumas. Okay. Parents, when you hard on your kids and you're constantly criticizing, especially your daughters, like for some reason, women will criticize their daughters way more than they criticize the boys. And then when you're constantly comparing them and when you're constantly putting them down and when you make comments like, oh, you're gaining weight or, oh, you're too fat or, oh, you're too this or too that, then understand the damage that you're doing to them. When you're pushing them so hard in school and you're not encouraging them to learn and get better and to work hard to stay curious and get better versus just performance. So you can brag to your friends about your child making straight A's. Like, who cares? Okay. Who cares about them damn straight A's? Don't nobody care. Okay. You want them to get straight A's all the way to become a slave for somebody. Who cares? Everybody in my family was much smarter than me. They went to all these Ivy League schools. Okay. They got all these great grades. I ended up being the dumb one. Okay. I was called the dumb one in my family. I went to Florida State. Now, guess who's the most successful? Guess who makes the most money? Making all those A's doesn't matter. Is your child doing the best that they can? Are you celebrating them for who they really are? And a lot of women weren't celebrated for who they are. And so then you being performance-based, being a perfectionist, because when you come from a critical family and household, then you end up being critical of yourself. So anyway, this client, very critical of herself, low self-esteem. She doesn't know how to choose herself. She's never chosen herself ever in her entire life. So she's coming to me for me to help her and she wants my help, but she doesn't know how to choose herself. And she's getting ready to treat herself the same way that the men treat her. Like, even though she knows she needs the help, she's making excuses in her mind why she shouldn't invest in herself, why she shouldn't take this step. And I saw her struggling and I could also see her timeline. And I said to her, listen, baby, because either way, I honor whatever it is that you want to do. At this point now, we have a waiting list. We have so many people wanting our help. We don't even have enough coaches available to be able to help them. So we have to be very selective about who we're choosing. Do you want me to just accept that you're okay with walking away from yourself and going against what it is that you say that you want, knowing that you're sabotaging yourself? Or do you want me to help coach you through choosing yourself for the first time in your life? And she said, I want you to coach me through choosing myself. She was basically asking for help. Like, she put her hand out so that I can be able to grab her hand to the other side. So then I started coaching her and reminding her of who she was, because she was a docile kitten in that moment. So anyway, the client that I had today, she was able to reach out to my hand and I was able to help her to choose herself. But y'all, when you're dealing with women's problems, when you're dealing with PCOS, when you're dealing with, name it, When you're dealing with weight gain and you've been trying to lose weight and you can't lose weight, you're not fat, you're inflamed. A lot of that stuff will resolve itself when you heal your love blocks. I can't express that enough. A lot of you guys are dealing with financial struggles, and it doesn't matter how much money you make. I've met people that make $1 million a year and they're $1.5 million in debt. Okay? Their money is inflamed. Why? Because they have love blocks. So it's important for you to understand how important this is. Like, I can give you all the advice in the world to have the men drop for you. I can teach you how to chakra fire, where you're sending energy to his heart that makes him just hooked for you. He can't even stop thinking about you. But none of that's going to matter if you are walking around with love blocks, because you won't even want the guy that's really into you, the guy that can treat you well, because you will always attract at your lowest point of trauma. You will attract what you expect. You will attract how you see yourself, how you value yourself. You will never attract what it is that you want. You only attract what you expect. Unless you're healed, then now your wants are in alignment with your expectations. That's the way it works.